Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line, talking about homelessness in Nashville. And we have a great panel up here and a bunch of calls. So let's just go back to the phones. Let's go to Lucy. Hello, Lucy.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
I just want to say hi to Ms. Tackett. I am grateful that you are in my hometown. I thank you.
Thank you.
I've been doing something since July 4th. I got up real early at the crack of dawn and took a ride in my city. And I drove around downtown out through North Nashville, West End, Broadway, and I spent some time down there at the corner of 12th and Broad with the homeless people. And I went down Church Street, I went out to Centennial Park, and there was a noticeable, to me, I can tell when people are homeless. When it's the crack of dawn and the buses aren't running and they're sitting on the stoops or on the park benches and stuff like that with that look on their face, and they're just surviving. I wonder what they were thinking. So since July 4th, I have not been to the grocery store but once. I have not used my vehicle at all. I have sweated and toiled in the heat and ration my food, not as a pittance, but to see how that feels, because I know how that feels. I have spent several weeks, not in bad conditions. I had a car over my lifetime where I had nowhere to go. I had a friend that was a social worker in Michigan once that told me, if you've got family alive, you're not homeless. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I have pulled up in friends' driveways when they didn't know that I was there, because I cut off my car, rolled up into their driveway late at night to sleep in my car, and left, or the side of their property, and left. So there is a problem here. And I heard that the reason that they got rid of a lot of the projects here in Nashville, like Settle Court and all these places, Casey Homes, and they start redoing them about 20 years ago, is their argument was that density causes crime and poverty. Well, they moved these same folks out to areas that were denser. And now we've seen all the bulldozings and the tall and skinnies and the Airbnbs and stuff, and that's denser. But there are people that are scattered out on our streets, if you see them, like scared cockroaches that feel like they have to keep moving no matter what. And to say that it's getting better is just not right. I know of a great place. Now, these people must be buddies, and they must I know they've attended the swine ball together, but these people are getting a kickback from the state of Tennessee. All these state legislatures come and party in our city, and they got a homeless problems out in the rural areas. I've seen them out in Kentucky and some stuff on the news here in the past few months, how bad it is out in the rural areas of Kentucky. Now,
all right,
bottom line.
Okay, get bottom line.
Used to be that you could survive, but there is a place out on the corner of Murfreesboro Pike and Donaldson Pike that the taxpayers are receiving no tax at all. It's about time that we tell Dell and HCA to go and take back that property and make that a homeless sick shelter, a poverty center, and it's right on the bus line that they just got through fixing for MTA, because those people are getting a free ride and they're billionaires.
All right, Lucy, thank you. There's a lot there. Who wants to respond? Anybody?
I think one of the things, especially when we talk about systems building, we always need to remember this is about people. This is about people are dying on the streets of Nashville, and we let it happen. And I probably have to get it over. I get really emotional about that. It's not about numbers. It's not about. It's just we can do better. Nashville is an American city. Any American city, we can all do better. And going back to veterans homelessness, 70 communities have created a system where really the numbers for veterans went down. That's an example of, yes, it needs to be government, private, it needs to be collaborative, it needs to be different dollars. It really can happen that we make a difference.
She throws out a building, I guess an old HCA building or something. Are there some buildings you've identified that would work for something like that?
We do that
that's
constantly, but it's about resources.
It is about resources, and it's about sorry, I could go on. No.
Well, and maybe it's about not in my backyard, right? Aren't there some that are like, I want to combat homelessness all day and night, but I don't want it to be near me.
Yeah, that happened to us.
I actually am glad that you're bringing that up, and then I'm gonna that is one of the biggest issues in any community, and in Nashville it's rampant. It's like, yes, I get calls on a weekly basis, multiple calls, where it's like, I do have a heart for people who need help, but and then it's about move them out of my neighborhood. And I'm like, how am I, because we have the same goal, but NIMBY, not in my backyard, is just huge. I want to help them somewhere else. Kind of that attitude.
Okay, let's go to Vicky. Hello, Vicky.
Hi, how are you tonight?
Great, go right ahead.
Okay, I, as a contributor, vendor, and writer who is experiencing homelessness, I love hearing about all this affordable housing and finally moving forward and understanding that we need it. But what I'd like to know is, what are we going to do while this stuff is being built? And not just in Nashville, in the outskirts as well. I can see a benefit for having, in Hermitage, in Antioch, in Donaldson, having day centers in the summertime that are pet friendly, that allow the homeless to go in and get out of the heat without being fearful of their dogs running off or their animals running off, this kind of thing. And shelters, not just concentrated in Nashville. Nashville isn't the only place that has homeless people in Davidson County. I know many who are sleeping in their vehicles with families out in the Hermitage area. Out in the Hermitage area and in Donaldson, and it needs to be more than just affordable housing. We need day centers, and day centers where they have service people right there. Maybe somebody coming in didn't know about this program or that program, to be able to talk to them in a comfortable setting where they can relax and think about these things. But I think there needs to be more than just affordable housing.
Okay.
Day centers and more shelters being built away from Nashville. Over in Madison, I know many encampments over in Madison that would benefit from a day center or even a shelter over there.
All right, thank you. What do y'all think?
The way to increase shelter beds is to decrease the time it takes for a person to move out of a shelter bed. So basically, I'm giving an example. If we make sure, I'm only for building more shelters if we can actually guarantee that the person is not in there for longer than, let's say, 3 months. So that means any shelter bed we create has to have, we have to have 4 exits for each shelter bed per year. And we need to build that in with policies, with strategies, with getting that done. I do agree with day centers, different places where people can go and actually are linked to services. That's the principle of coordinated entry. It's like where people are being served. It's about services, and also we wanted to talk about survival strategies in the heat. And
yeah, what about that?
So, also just to say to Vicki, hi, it's good to hear from you. It's good to hear your voice. But also, so we do outreach. Open Table Nashville does outreach, and we do outreach out in the community, not in one location. And so we are not a day center, but we do spread out and try to reach the different quadrants of the city, and go further out, which other outreach workers do as well. But like that, I'm glad that we at least have a pulse out in those areas, and can start building relationships. And and the PSA that I just wanted to make, that if you see people outside in extreme heat, to check on them. And it's pretty serious. When the heat index gets up to 100, we get really concerned about people's health. And so no matter what, either check on them or call the non-emergency number to have a wellness check done for that person. Carrying frozen bottles of water around in your car is really helpful. Carrying around $5 gift cards to like McDonald's so that people can get in out of the heat and just sit for a while and get some water. And also suggesting libraries. Libraries are normally places where people can go during the day to cool down. But just want to make sure that everyone in our community is keeping a watch out for folks because like Bobby said earlier, we have this memorial every year and the number increases at least by 10% every year. And every year we hear that we need to do something about this. And this is one of the times that's most critical, and that's the summer, and people overheating and going to the hospital and dying.
When it's this hot. Okay, we'll take a break. If you're online, hold on. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.